Welcome, everyone. It is Tuesday. Sure is. And what does the Bible have to do with it? See, depending on the taste that has been left in the mouth of humanity from religion, that's how you'll determine what does the Bible have to do with it. You see, the reason why, I guess it's twofold. It has two purposes. If you understand the nature of man is to learn and to repeat what it has learned. And the more you repeat what you have learned, it becomes your habit, which is autopilot, and you just do it without question. That is the nature of humanity. Now, one of the easiest ways to learn something is through repetition. Repetition and rote memory. You know, like how you memorize your times tables. That is repetition, and it is rote memory. Okay? And one of the reasons why you do it that way is so that you can store the information. So when you recall the information, you can put it into whatever category you need. Let me give you an example. We in TCM school, we've memorized over 400 points, over 400 acupuncture points. I don't even know how many herbs we have memorized, but they're all committed to memory. So that when someone comes in and says, oh my goodness, I feel like dot, dot, dot. I'm not sleeping. I'm not really eating. The first thing you think of is, okay, you're not sleeping. You choose points that are based on not sleeping. And bien, extra point. Just behind the ears, really. That's what you do. Something comes up and you match it to what you've learned. Right? Okay. You see the points and then you get a formula. You say, well, why are they not sleeping? Which part of sleep is disturbed? Falling asleep or staying asleep? And you will get a formula. You would remember formulas and you'd pull the most suitable formula based upon their presentation. This is how you do it. So the reason why scripture is there, this is the first reason. The first reason is so that when you remember it, you would do what it says, right? Because that is our nature. We memorize and we do what we've memorized. Now, there's a little itty bitty part in there where there's a measure of control because you were given that information, right? You're given the information. But because now you were given that information and you don't ask questions, this is where the measure of control comes in. Okay? That's another day, but I just needed to lay that bit of a foundation first. That the nature of humanity is to memorize and to do what it has memorized. And once you start doing what you've memorized, you no longer ask questions because it is just something that you've done and something that you've always done. Okay? Now, that's a good thing, depending on whose hands it's in. If it's in your hands, meaning you decided what you were going to learn so that you could repeat it over and over again, Well, that's a good thing because you're looking out and you're watching your life and seeing what works and seeing what doesn't work and swapping different things out. But if it is not in your hands and you're doing something you've always done without question, well, then you remain the same as you always were. Your mental attitude remains the same. So to facilitate your change, you must begin to ask questions. But this is where the problem comes in with quote unquote religion. You're not allowed to ask questions. But you know what? Another day. What does the Bible have to do with it? In the Bible, in plain sight, there are a bunch of stories, parables, if you will. Right? There's a whole bunch of them in there. But the way we've been taught to interpret the Bible is to project that story outward. When in actuality, it is simply a story, a way for you to learn something. But in order for you to learn something, you have to bring it inside of yourself. You have to ask, what is this story saying about me? So let's pick one, just anyone. Daniel in the lion's den. I know some of you may clutch your pearls and talk about, this is not Sunday. I'm not in church. I don't want to hear this. But bear with me. There's something important about that story. Daniel, as we know, allegedly, it's a story. Don't come for me. Just listen to the story. Go past the bias. Go past the judgment and listen to the story. Because Goldilocks and the Three Bears is a story. And we can learn from that too. But I digress. So in the story, Daniel allegedly refuses to bow to the king's decree. And so what ends up happening is, he's like, well, you shouldn't be praying, blah, blah, blah. So he has Daniel thrown in the lion's den. Now, there wasn't one lion. I don't know how many lions were in there. But if you read the story, there's a couple of them. So he's thrown in the den. Now, those lions haven't been fed in a while, right? So they are hungry. Now, allegedly, Daniel turns his back to the lions. What now? You're going to turn your back on your enemy? Well, then you can't see when it's coming, right? Mm-mm. This is why I don't like massage. Because I can't see your face. I don't know when you're going to touch me, and I don't like that feeling. So you know how frightening it is to turn your back on something, yes? You're going into unknown territory. When you turn your back on something, you can't see anymore because your eyes face forward. So he turns his back on the lions and he prays. He looks to the light. And so when they open up the den in the morning, Daniel strolls out, talking about, what's up, y'all? What the heck is that story trying to say? Now, if we had imagination, we'd see ourselves right away. We would see ourselves right away. What's the first thing that happened? You encountered a problem. That's the first thing that happened. He encountered a problem. And because he encountered a problem, he ended up in a sticky situation. He ended up in a situation where he couldn't see a way out. Do you have one of those situations in your world where you're looking at it and you're like, man, I don't see how this is going to work out? and you're looking at it head on, You're looking at it and you're like trying to figure it out, and you're like, I cannot. There's no way this is possible. This can't work. We've got those situations in our world, don't we? So, for a little bit of a break, Daniel turns his back to the problem. He's like, okay, I already know what the problem is. So I'm going to turn away from the problem to see another option. So did he turn his back on the unknown? No. He knew he had a problem. He knew there were lions back there, but he turned his back to them because he knew what they were and he knew the outcome of what they were. They would destroy you. He already knew that, so it wasn't a surprise. So he turned his back upon what he knew, which was the lions are back there and they, chances are going to eat me. He knew that. He knew how the situation would end. So he turned his attention towards the solution. And what was the solution? If you read the story, the solution was freedom. He already knew he was a captive because obviously he was in the den with lions. So he knew the problem and he knew the outcome of the problem. So he turned his back on that problem and turned his face towards a solution. The solution was freedom, is what he turned his attention towards. And what is the outcome if you're focused on freedom? If you turn your face to freedom, what is the outcome? Well, if you have your face to the lions, what's the outcome? Well, he knew the outcome. So in both situations, he knew the outcome. But he deliberately chose the outcome in spite of what it looked like. It looked like his ultimate demise, a swift one at that, right? He knew if I stay in here, I'm going to be lunch. Shoot, be an hors d'oeuvre if I stay where I am. He knew. So you know that if you stay where you are, you might end up being lunch. Nobody wants to be lunch. Well, the lunch of a hungry lion, that is. So when you turn your attention towards a solution, the outcome of the solution materializes. Because why? You're looking at it. This is why he turned his back to the lions, because if you turn your back to the lion, it means you have removed your attention from it. So what's a hungry lion in your life today? Well, you already know what it is. You already know the outcome of the hungry lion. So if you keep looking at it and complaining about it, what's going to happen? So do what Daniel did. Turn your attention towards the desired outcome, which is your freedom. If you will notice in the story, nobody swooped down into the den to rescue him and pluck him out. So it was up to him and where he put his attention. Where you put your attention matters. This is what that story is telling you. So that when you learn that story and you apply what you've learned, do you think you'll remain? No, you would not remain in the den of the lion. What? He didn't remain in the den. So imitate what he did. He turned his attention towards the solution. The solution was freedom. I know some may want to argue about that interpretation, but I'm just reading it the way it is written. You look, because the whole point of the story is what's happening in the den, not how he got up to the den, not what command he disobeyed. That's not the story. Those are just details. But the core essence of the story, if you know how to interpret the story, first of all, they're not telling you that he wasn't afraid. Which one of us would not be afraid? Listen, this is why I don't go hiking, because there's too many cougars and bears in the bush. And you ain't gonna find me there because I will not be lunch. So I don't go. I don't go. Because that's not my thing. So we all know that because he was a human, if you read the story through the lens of your existence, he was a man. You're a human, man or woman. So chances are he was scared. So it's telling you, even though you are afraid of the present situation that you are in, it's totally all right to be afraid because that is human nature. It is part of our nature to be afraid of things, right? It just is. But if you draw your inspiration from the fact that, yeah, he was afraid, but he was also bold. Well, how do you know he was bold? Because he turned his back on the problem. You have to be bold. You see, fear keeps you rooted right where you are. You can't go left or right. You're just, deer in the headlights. But even though he was scared, he turned his back on the situation. And he said, I know where I am. Now, where do I want to go? What do I want to do here? Which tells us that when you turn your back upon your problem, one, it can no longer intimidate you. Well, how can it? You already know how that problem is going to play itself out. You know how the problem is going to play itself out. It's not a surprise. That's why the story of the lion is there, because you know the inevitable outcome of remaining in the presence of lions. Somebody's going to get eaten today. So you know. So turning your back upon it would be the bold thing to do because you know how it's going to turn out. You just have to look at it. So now he turns towards what he wants to become, free. Give us free. You know what? I'm done. So he turns his back on the problem. So the only other position you can face in is to turn your face to the solution. Did he turn around? We don't know. Did he turn around to look? We don't know. But then, who turned around though? Let's hop right into another story because it's the same principle. Lot's wife. That saying that old habits die hard, yeah? She was told, keep your eyes forward. Don't look back, just keep your eyes forward. This is what she was told. Both of these stories are telling you the exact same thing. Keep your eyes forward towards the solution. Why? Because that is the direction you will go in. If you turn and you look back, what happens to you? You get stuck in the same old thing you have always done. Thus, you become frozen. You become frozen in the same behavior that you've always done. But you see, we don't get that from the story. We only hear about Sodom and Gomorrah and God's going to destroy you. That's the only part of the story we hear. I cannot apply that to my life because that will give me fear for sure. But if I remind myself, wait a minute, keep my eyes towards what I want to accomplish, then I will accomplish these things. Eyes forward. Keep your eyes forward towards your solution. So the Bible, you see, if you use it in a particular fashion, you see, there's a little scripture that says, go ye into the world and make disciples of all men. Disciple means, discipline. You see, we have a misinterpretation of what we think discipline is. We think discipline is to beat somebody. Spare the rod, spoil the child, allegedly. We think that's what it is. But discipline comes from habits. Discipline comes from habits. So, what habit are you doing? That is what you have disciplined or trained yourself to do. This is what discipline is, a training of oneself to do something, a very specific thing, right? So, when you train yourself to do a particular thing, it doesn't just affect you. It affects people around you as well because they see what you're doing. So if you live according to that scripture, go ye into the world, well, you live in it. You're in it. Live. Become. You are not the only one in the world. There are other people around, and they will watch. And they're going to, oh my God, what are you doing? You look really good. What are you doing? What's your secret? That is how you make a disciple of someone. They observe you as you live your life because it is how you live your life that speaks. So when you're reading scripture, remove the judgment. We all know why it was invented, but of course we know why it was invented. If you take any amount of time to ask questions, you would see it. But you see, there's also a scripture that says, what was meant to harm you will not. All things work together for good. So, what can you interpret so that you can apply it to your life? But you see, we get lost. We get lost in the fray because of fear. Remove the fear and just read the story. Goldilocks and the Three Bears. The first one was to this, so it was unsatisfactory. The second one, to that, and it was also unsatisfactory. But the other one fit just right. Which tells us that there's something in your life, right, that's going to fit you just right. But you've got to first determine what doesn't, which means when you know what you want, you're going to look at that thing and go, yeah, you know what? That's not it. There's too much of that in there. No, that doesn't work for me. And you go back to the drawing board and you reset yourself and you get there. You see, I see this one over here. This one is almost what I'm looking for, but not quite. And then you come upon the third. You see, there's always a third option. A lot of people think there's only two, but there's definitely three. There's three. And the third one always fits you just right. But from that story, you have to understand that it is you. You're Goldilocks. You have to understand that it is you who needs to know what you want. Once you know what you want, when you see other things appear, you're not like, you're not easily distracted. One was too hot, the other too cold, the other one just right. Which means you have got to know who and what you are so that that will show you what you like. You see, the whole point of this, you can even pull a Jack and the Beanstalk. You traded the cow for what? Beans. Magic beans? Magic beans. Something so small and insignificant. Magic isn't even real. But you traded the cow for them? Threw them out into the yard. And they started to do what? take root to grow, they grew. The outcome of planting is reaping. So it grew and it grew and it grew and it became so big. Which would tell you at some point in your life, you're going to have to look at something and say, you know what? I see what this could become. And in all of those stories, there's a little element of trust. Trusting what you know, trusting you. It was Daniel who had to turn his back. It was Goldilocks who had to lay in each bed or taste each porridge. It was Jack who accepted the beans. Always at the center point of the story is an individual, just one, who turns inward to make a choice. But that's you. So you see, if we would stop, again, I'm not here to tell you God is real, God is not real. I'm not here to tell you that. But what I am here to tell you is you have to look within. Doesn't matter which story you want to come upon now. You wanna read about the Buddha? What did the Buddha do? Tested himself to see how he could reach enlightenment. Who did he test? So who do you have to test? Who tested Buddha? He did. Read about him. You see, but we don't read because we think that messages are only in one thing. When in actuality, the mind that is open will learn. This is why I always say you don't judge. Just look at the story. What can you learn from the story? You don't have to like me in what I say this morning. You don't. But all of those little stories are telling us the same thing. Know who you are and turn yourself within. You already know what is behind you. I mean, you're living it right now. You already know what you're living. And you already know that you don't want to live it anymore. You don't want to live that particular thing anymore. I keep telling you, people actually want to live. Nobody wants to expire. Why do you think we do as much as we do? Because we want to live. So if you know that you want to live, well, then clearly the problem you're going through is what you want to end, not your life. You want the problem to end. How is ending the life going to solve the problem? It doesn't. It doesn't solve the problem because the energy that you are is what carries on. So whatever energy you end at is where you begin. So the key is to learn how to move the attention from where it is and put it where you want it to be over and over and over again. Because in that simple action, you change. You change. You become something different. Always transforming the mind. Oh, that reminds me of scripture. Be ye transformed by the renewing of the mind. What do you think to renew something is? If your license expires, you have to go and make it active again. So reactivate the way you think. We use that word renew all the time. You renew your driver's license. Shoot, you have to renew your mortgage. There's a bunch of things we have to renew. So understand what renew means. Put it in such a fashion that you can use it again. That's all it is. so that you can use it again. So, how are you going to use your mind this time around? So, you see, my beautiful friends, what I'm showing you today is you have a great capacity within you, but we get bogged down. We get bogged down by frivolous things. Oh, really, we do. You have to put these things in perspective. Put them in perspective. You can command your body. Oh, yes, you are. And you sure can. Now, if you've done any reading, now allegedly, I don't know how true this is, but again, I'm taking it as a story. How can I apply it? Especially when you think of someone and they call you, or you think of someone and you see them. All you did was think about them, and there they were. So if you can use the mind to think of somebody and they call you, or think of somebody and they show up, well, then I should be able to do the same thing with my own body, should I not? Because they tell you that there's some things that you can use your mind to control. Ah, I forget who it was, but I forget who it was where um you think, and then the machine will speak for you, because you just think it and it interprets the brain activity and it speaks. I forget where I saw it. So here we are, just limiting ourselves to speaking, when in actuality, there's something deeper. You don't have to. I keep telling you, if you could not speak, would you still not be able to communicate? So then, if communication is not hampered by the lack of speech, well, then there's a part of us we have to develop where we don't use speech to communicate. But we don't even take that part of ourselves seriously. Trust me, I know. I talk a lot. So I get it. So begin to experiment with your life. How can I speak to my body? You are in it. It is a device that you control with your mood. Your body is a device that you control with your mood. Why do you think it is so important for somebody to hijack your mood? Because then they can control you. Oh, Angela, that's just a conspiracy theory. Call it what you want. But I know if I'm the one that can make you feel something, oh yeah, sure, I can make you do something. Then who has the power? Where's the conspiracy in that when you know it to be true? So then the key here is to know yourself. You and I speak to ourselves incessantly every single day. But because we are stuck in a habit, we think that that is our life. It is only a habit. You are only habitually feeling something, but your body has to always register what you feel so you know where you are. So if you get up and you say, oh my God, this anxiety, oh my God, this depression, it is just a habit that you have practiced for a very long time. You have to give yourself the credit to know that you can change mentally, because that's what you're doing. How do you think a panic attack happens? Because of what's going on inside your mind. What you are thinking about is creating the panic in your body. You see it. You see it. So then, if the thought is bringing on the panic, you have to practice, because the body is always going to show the evidence of what you are thinking. because you can't be made a liar of. So then when you say to me, yeah, but you don't experience it. So how can you be so cold and uncaring and unfeeling to tell me that it's just a habit when you don't live it, Angela? What I'm saying to you is you engage it, your body's gonna say, yes, we feel this. Because it has to. It takes its command from you. I don't even know how we got here, but we're here nonetheless. Take some time. Take some time. You see, we have to develop some kind of indifference. You have to develop some kind of indifference that says, you know what? This is my life that I'm going to live. I don't even know why I'm here. I may not know why I'm here, but I'm here. And I want the best. I want to get up in the morning and be free. I want to get up in the morning and have a clear mind. I want to get up in the morning and have a healthy body. So then that is where I will put my attention. And I will not allow myself to be dragged into drama to say, oh my God, single mothers are the demise of the world, right? I'm talking from my own experiences here now. You do not allow yourself to be pulled in a direction that drags you away from what that inner is. Yeah, but Angela, I'm lonely. You already know how to make friends. So don't tell me that you're lonely. You know how to make friends. But if you keep looking at the loneliness, you're going to stay inside. So turn your back upon the loneliness because you know exactly how it works out. Yeah, but Angela, people are mean. You know all 8 billion people on the planet? Well, then you can't make such a blanket statement. Are you mean? This is what I'm trying to say to you. Keep the focus. Keep your focus on the desired outcome because that's where you want to be. You know, because you drive, that where you look, that car is going to go. So if you know that when you drive and the car is going to go in that direction that you're looking in, we'll use the principle of correspondence and go as above, so below. So if below I am driving and the car goes where I look, that's below. So above, if I focus, if I have my eyes on where I want to go, I will go there because the car goes where I look. Well, then my life must go where I look. This is how you apply the principle of correspondence. As above, so below. As within, so without. If you spend your time doing that, you think you'll be busy hearing, oh my God, there's a war over here and a war over there. You side with them, you're the enemy. Oh no, but you side with them, you're the enemy. And the next thing you know, what's happening to you? You're pulled this direction, that direction, and your brain is going like, what? How did I get here? And then you put your whole life in turmoil. Keep your eyes where you want to go. Man, you doubt me. Go driving today. Go and take your eyes off the road and see what happens. Mm. Well, then, if you take your eyes off the road, you can't stay on it. Keep your eyes, aka your attention. Keep your attention where you want to go. And you will begin to notice that when you put your attention upon where you don't want to go, it's not going to feel good to you. You say, what am I doing? They're like rumble strips on the side of the highway, right? Like if you veer off the road, all you hear is, and you snap back and you're like, oh, shoot, I better get back on the road. So when you turn your attention upon something that you don't want in your life, to complain about it, right? When you turn and you look at it and you complain about it, that feeling that you get is you on the rumble strips. Talking about get back on the road, girl, get back on the road, get back on the road, to get your focus back. And the more you practice keeping your focus, oh, but Angela, you don't know my ADHD. Girl, don't make me beat you with your ADHD. Keep your focus. So to keep focus, you have to practice focus. Focus does not just appear out of nowhere. You don't just get up in the morning and, oh, look, there's focus. Let me take that. No, one has to practice focusing. And what you practice, well, you become. Practice focus, you become focused. But you know what? I'm not here to holler at you. I'm not here to beat you up. I'm not here to do any of that. I just want you to see, even when you get on a plane, he sets a course for the destination. Does the pilot not do that? He sets a course. So the whole point of flying is to get to the destination. So you have to set a destination, which means you have to know what you want. Get excited today to know that you don't have to stay in whatever it is you're in. You don't have to end your life for things to change. My grandfather taught me that. He said, as long as you're alive, you can make a change. Yes. Allow the change because you know change will do you good, right? You know change will do you good. So stay the course, my friends. And so when you read any story from any book, it's talking about you. Yeah, it is. It's telling you, turn your face towards your solution. Keep your eyes on the destination. And so set a course for the Laurentian system. Too much Star Trek, Angela. You always set a course. And when you set that course, everything unfolds along the line of the course that you set. That's it. I've got nothing else to tell you today. You do with this as you please. You know exactly how to apply it. It is a habit that you're presently working with. And in your mind's eye, you make a decision. What can you see? You can see yourself doing something else. So see it. But then you begin to know that in order to do that thing, you have to adopt a particular attitude. Oh, don't make me pull a Patti LaBelle. I tidied up my point of view. I got a new attitude. Know where I'm going and I know what to do. But instead, we'd rather hear my my booty brown. You know what? I'm done. I'm done. I can't. Save me. Listen, who's here with us today? Well, Twitter is as Twitter is. Twitter is for the replay gang. Miss Trina Bina. Oh, good morning, darling. I see you. The better man. I see you. It's good to see you here in these YouTube streets. I don't know who else is in here in YouTube. I know there's some more of you, but you're the only two that have made yourselves known. And so I say, howdy, y'all. Who's here on fan base? Lord, light so bright. uh, we've got Ray Ray in the house. We got Miss Mahoney. Hey, girl. Casey, my darling. Oh, and honey, hello. Oh, Big Michael, he went to work. I see that. So, anywho, go forth today. I am well under an hour. Liza, darling. Hello, Liza. Liza says, hello, all. Yes, I see you. Remember, you can do this. You are not some little tiny worm or ant or squirrel. And listen, worms and ants. Do you know the ant can carry, I forget how many pounds? I forget. Its body weight, I forget. And look at how small it is. Ant's not out here talking about, oh my God, that's too big for me. The ant's like, I got this. I've got spring, summer, and fall. I got work to do, and they are focused. Because come winter, who's going to save them? Nobody. So they work. They stay focused. So you see, you are not some insignificant creature. You are human. And there's much greatness within you. So start using it. And stop allowing others, I didn't say others as in other humans, but others, to lie to you and tell you that you're nothing. You hear what I'm saying? But you know what? Until you see the greatness, so start looking. And the only way to find it is to turn within and test. Test where you can hold your focus and see what happens. How many times today can you say, oh my God, what a coincidence? How many times can you do it today? You know what that means? It means you kept your focus on something so much that you made it materialize. You projected it out of yourself. Test yourself. You can do this. Anywho, I do love you. And you know, I look forward to seeing you on the morrow right here on YouTube, Facebook, Twitter, fan base, TikTok. You know what? I don't even know that you know what you want, TikTok. But you know, I'll reapply again in a day, and tomorrow we'll be on TikTok too. I love you all. Truly, I do. Go forth and live. Can't nobody break my stride. Nobody gonna slow me down. Oh no, I got to keep on moving. Why do you need to keep moving? Because everything moves. Nothing stands still. Anyway, love you lots. Oh, there's now another person here in these YouTube streets. Hey. Anyway, I do love you lots. If you have any questions, slide into my DMs. Not because I know more than you. I just know the principles because I have memorized them. So what you waiting for? Memorize them. Mentalism. The all is mind. The universe is a mental creation. Correspondence. As within, so without, as above, so below. Everything moves. It vibrates. Nothing stands still. And it moves between seed and fruit. Always becoming. And it moves in a rhythmic fashion. An ebb and a flow. And rhythm always compensates. How far you go to the left is how far you come back to the right, which in turn will cause us to act. Why? Because every cause has its effect, and every effect has its cause. Why? Because we are always in a state of generation, which is gender, not to be confused with man, woman, boy, girl, but Masculine is the idea that is unseen, that you project outward into the world. And the moment you embody that invisible thing and give it form, it is now feminine. Yes? Anywho, again, parting is such sweet sorrow. Ooh, I'm still on time. Okay, countdown initiated. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Much love to you all. Much love.